Hello, one and all, and welcome to Dark Vault Gaming. I'm your host, Joe Dark, and today we're going to take a look at the recent changes being made internally in Bethesda Game Studios and how these changes will not only affect Bethesda games going forward, but the incorporation of Bethesda's influence on other games in other studios across all platforms. There's a lot to cover, so let's get to it. Okay, so we know there's a lot happening in and around Bethesda right now. So let's start out with the release of Bethesda's latest big release, Starfield. Although the bugs were minimal on its release, the reception was mixed in a very broad way. Some players found it to be amazing, one of the best games they have ever played. They can't get enough of it. The ground combat, weapon mechanics, space travel, and combat in space, as well as the vast map, along with the overall story, and the amount of great quest lines in this AAA title. Then you have the players that are very critical of the redundancy of the same outpost layouts on different planets. For instance, you go to a planet you have never been to before, and you go to an abandoned mining facility or an abandoned outpost. And when you get there, you say to yourself, hey, I've been here before. It can be annoying. That, plus a sort of a minimalistic space travel mechanics, nothing like No Man's Sky or Elite Dangerous. It's very minimalistic. A lot of fast traveling type of stuff. Some people don't like that. Then you have the Game Plus issue. That's a whole nother story in a nutshell. We'll cover that on another day. Some people like it, some people hate it. And I know you have these critics on both sides of the spectrum for all games. But since this game was a mega hype game before its release, it seems a little bit more prevalent. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Starfield. And I am a Fallout franchise guy. But I think this game is amazing, along with the fact that Todd Howard himself stated that they will continue adding content. Gamers will be playing this game for years to come. Todd Howard just recently also stated that people will be playing the new Elder Scrolls 6 for the next 10 years after its release scheduled for 2026. Todd Howard has great expectations for all of the studio's releases because he is the guy to come to in order to get content approved. Herein lies one of the issues with Bethesda. Oblivion, ZeniMax, Xbox Games, and Microsoft, all as a whole. In a recent interview with former design director from Bethesda, Bruce Nesmith, he was a key developer in Oblivion, Fallout 3, Elder Scrolls 2, Daggerfall, Skyrim, and Starfield. He had stated that turnover at Bethesda used to be a very low output. Not many people left, but now developers are leaving at a much more rapid pace. Some are leaving for retirement after big paydays to take breaks, enjoy life, and consult on other things. And some have left for greener pastures to work on different projects, things that they are passionate about, and things they can't get done with Bethesda. In this same interview, Nesmith went on to say he tips his hat to the makers of Baldur's Gate 3, small independent studio named Larian. Smaller independent studios can develop games like this because they don't have to answer to investors and higher-ups to get things approved by someone to add content. Nesmith said that if you want to add something to a game in Bethesda, you would have to run it by Todd Howard. If your addition is not the Bethesda usual, it would probably be denied or extremely difficult to implement. If there was a new creature, let's say, that is to be implemented into a game, the artists actually had to make a one crazy off-the-wall creature that they knew would not get approved, and then create the monster that they wanted to create to get approved, ensuring that it would get approved and they'd be okay, but they'd have to make two of them. One really nuts and one what they wanted. That's the way of Bethesda, apparently. This, along with Bethesda's recent growth, add in the COVID pandemic issue and so many studios in so many different locations, caused problems which became much more prevalent. And due to the lack of face time with Todd Howard on approvals, caused a backlog of content being implemented, and some content never seeing the light of day. This issue became extremely frustrating for developers. That's a big issue with game development, which is one of the reasons developers are leaving Bethesda to create new content without their hands being tied. Now, Nesmith retired, but he now has a ton of free time to consult, and he believes in small independent companies. Pete Hines just recently retired after being with Bethesda for 24 years. Now, he did say this is a retirement, but he also not only is a free agent, but he has a decent amount of money behind him, giving him freedom to consult on any other projects he wants with any other studio. He was the Senior Vice President of Global Marketing and Communications with Bethesda and very familiar with all of the current and former developers. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Back in August of 2021, Jeff Gardner left Bethesda and formed his own small game studio in 2022, along with his longtime friend and co-worker Charles Staples, design director for Obsidian Entertainment and lead level designer for The Outer Worlds and Fallout New Vegas. And who does Jeff recruit? But other former co-workers like Jeremy Bryant, who worked on Skyrim, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, and Starfield. Akil Hooper, who worked on the Fallout franchise. How about Charles Kim, former developer that worked on the Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim, Fallout, as well as Ark Evolved, and even Ark 2 the sequel. Then you have George Grove, who worked for both Bethesda and Ubisoft. Thomas Hopper from the Bethesda Game Studios. Eric Webb, who worked on Fallout 4, Far Harbor, and Starfield. Matt Weather, artist for the Elder Scrolls and Starfield. Tess Taplin, the list goes on. And most recently, Will Chen, lead quest designer for Starfield and the infamous man and the brains behind Fallout 4, Far Harbor. These developers, as well as others, have joined Jeff in this new company named Something Wicked Games, and are currently working on a new open-world RPG called Weird Song. It's a historical fantasy set in Middle Ages Portugal, centering around the Knights Templar. We'll need to keep an eye on this upcoming game, and this studio as well. Good things are going to come from this studio, I'm sure. Now, I know this looks bad for the future of Bethesda Game Studios, but recently, since the acquisition of Activision Blizzard King, Microsoft and Xbox have decided, since there are now even more studios involved, they needed to create a central hub for each studio to go to for content and design. So they have made Xbox Games in charge, basically, of all studios to help and collaborate in the development of all games and content within each studio. This will alleviate some workload from Todd Howard and add some flexibility on creations going forward. By doing this, it appears all games under the Xbox Games and Microsoft umbrella will expand the creativity of the studios. This, along with the addition of the Creation Club to add content, all under the Xbox supervision. So in essence, Bethesda has spread its wings with this new small independent gaming studio with the Bethesda background, plus collaborations from an abundance of new studios, giving more freedom to create and show their true talent. So what we know for sure is there is the new Elder Scrolls 6 being released sometime in 2026. We have new Fallout 76 content coming for sure next April. We have just recently a Fallout 4 map was just created, adding the entire Fallout New Vegas map to Fallout 4. How cool is that? Along with the Fallout 4 Next Gen, which is also coming soon. We have the Starfield DLC, Shattered Space, coming soon. And of course, let's not forget the Fallout TV series in the works with Prime Videos. Prime actually just posted on X, formerly Twitter, with a holotape image of the release date as April 12th, 2024. Just recently data mined was a Vault 33 jumpsuit being added to Fallout 76, which is just another hint towards the TV series, as Vault 33 will be in that series. There's a lot happening in and around Bethesda Game Studios, and in my opinion, there are some changes for the better. Let's all wish Jeff Gardner the best of luck in his new venture, and I'll keep you posted on news on the Weird Song game coming, and also the Something Wicked Games studio in the future. Let you know what's happening there. Well, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your input, and let me know what you think one way or another. It's important to me, and it's important to the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, and you know what to do. If you hit that bell, you'll get notified of all new upcoming content. Looking forward to seeing you next time. Everybody have a great day. Excelsior! Take care.